Hey yo, welcome to another episode of the Choke Slam Wrestling Report. I am your host, the infamous Ultimate One, and today we're doing our usual wrestling roundup. And of course, the first story of the day of this episode is the passing of Scott Hall, and that pretty much um, caught me by surprise as far as the the events that led up to his passing. Um, Supposedly, according to dirt sheets, were that he suffered a fall in his home. He went for hip surgery, and then right after that, say a blood clot got loose during the surgery and affected him, having him had three heart attacks on Saturday night, leaving him on life support on Sunday. And then on Monday, Kevin Nash pretty much announced that he was going to be taken off life support by his family, that we're waiting for his family to gather. And on Monday evening, he passed away. This was a very sad situation, being that this man is a pioneer in the wrestling industry. I believe that without Scott Hall, there would not be no Bullet Club, there would be no AEW today, there won't be no other wrestling promotion right now challenging WWE, because Scott Hall was part of the bigger events that led to professional wrestling uh, rising from the ashes back in 1996, when him, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan created the NWO on Bash at the Beach '96. I believe whoever was alive at that time, whoever saw the Bash at the Beach '96, will always remember where they were at when Hulk Hogan hit that leg drop on Randy Savage that summer of '96. Scott Hall was a big part of that led to the NWO, pretty much taking over the wrestling world, and pretty much, uh, you know, them doing what they do best, and that was taking over WCW. And of course, Scott Hall was a guy who uh, was given credit by Sting for giving him the idea of the Crow Sting gimmick that Sting then used to battle the NWO back in the 90s and late thousands. But Scott Hall, before he even became Razor Ramon, whatever, I remember Scott Hall known as Coyote, as he and Danny Spivey were part of a tag team called American Starship that made their debut at the NWA, I think, TV taping. And it's all because Dusty Rhodes told Jim Crockett, sign these guys, give them the opportunity, because Scott Hall was already in Florida with Dusty Rhodes being the booker, and he was already feuding with Dusty Rhodes. So Dusty Rhodes was big time on that, and Scott Hall always gave thanks to Dusty Rhodes for giving him the opportunity. But after the American Starship situation, that was kind of a failure for him. He did went to Japan, wrestle different names out there. He went wrestle for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Then he came back, I believe, in '86. Became AWA World Tag Team Champion with Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. They became champions back in '85. Verne Gagne was trying to use Scott Hall. Of course, Verne Gagne was the owner of American Wrestling Association, the AWA, was trying to make Scott Hall the next Hulk Hogan. And that's why, because Verne Gagne dropped the ball when he had Hulk Hogan in '83, and he was trying to beat Nick Bockwinkel for the AWA World title, but Verne Gagne and his crones, the Dick the Bruiser and the Larry the Hacks Henning and his son, he was pushing his son, Verne Gagne's son, Greg Gagne, was pushing him for title matches, Brian Ringans, all that. They were not pushing Hulk Hogan. They were not giving him a dime or a day. And when Hogan became big in WWF, then he tried to use Scott Hall and try to do things that Hogan was doing back then. But that didn't succeed. But instead, he became AWA World Tag Team Champion with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. They lost those belts to Buddy Rose and Doug Summers the following year. He left and went back to WCW. Actually, no. Yeah, but at that time was NWA, was WCW already. He made his another debut called the Diamond Stud, along with Diamond Dallas Page. Then he went to WWF, became Razor Ramon, became 4 times Intercontinental Champion. He is given credit for the man who let himself get beat by 1-2-3 Kid, which led him becoming a babyface, winning the Intercontinental Champion 4 times during that run. So, this guy, he Razor Ramon was big time. Razor Ramon had that cool Aurora, that cool smooth with a toothpick, which that's one of the part of stuff I remember me and the teenagers doing stuff with the toothpick. Actually, I was a little older than teen. I think it was my 2022. But the toothpick was the thing that I used to love when he used to throw it in people's face. But Razor Ramon then left WWF '96, and that's when he came to WCW, and the rest is history. And I still say to this day, and I just said it in my opening, without no Scott Hall, no NWO, there is no Bullet Club today. Because Bullet Club right now is still around after 9. It's going to be 9 years already. And they're throwing the Too Sweet and all that stuff. But all that stuff came from the NWO. And people are going to be like, oh, we knew that. But, you got to give thanks to the guys like Scott Hall who knew the psychology and the behind-the-scenes stuff when it comes to professional wrestling. That's not a lot of people who has that now. A lot of these people just come up with stories and just be doing crazy stuff or overdoing spots they don't need to do, going through tables. And you didn't see none of that stuff when Scott Hall was wrestling. It was all methodical. It was psychology in the ring. And if he did went outside, whatever, they didn't do spots like this. And I believe the pro wrestling world lost a guy who could have been a agent in the back for places like WWE or AEW or any other spot. And I know Britt Baker was one of the girls that really, really used some of Scott Hall stuff. She was using Scott Hall stuff with the blood, and she used it this past week when she wrestled Thunder Rosa. So that was cool. So a lot of people who really like Scott Hall. I, for one, could have had an opportunity to meet and greet Scott Hall, and I'm kicking myself this week because I had a chance to meet the man himself on a House of Glory, and I didn't get the chance to do a meet and greet because it was a long line, and I didn't get to. But, I probably will live with that regret for the rest of my life, but I was able to see him perform, and that's something I will never forget because me as a wrestling historian, a guy who knows wrestling, been watching wrestling for 40 plus years. I tell you, he is one of the guys that, you got to give him his props. He said it, hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad days don't last, but bad guys do, or bad times don't last and bad guys do. So I can relate with that because that's part of life. We go, I know he faced a lot of demons in his wrestling career. He was able to come back. Diamond Dallas Page helped him a lot. Him becoming Hall of Famer, not once but twice, which is cool because he deserved it. He put a lot of work, and regardless of what he did outside of the wrestling ring, outside, behind the curtain, whatever, we could just judge about that, but he was a great performer. You cannot take that away from him at all. Now his son, Cody Hall, I think he's wrestling again. I do follow him on Instagram, and he looks good. So who knows? Cody Hall could come back and wrestle and continue his father's legacy. But it is what it is. Another story that we could talk about right now, and as we were talking about NWO and Bullet Club this past weekend, pretty much they sealed the fate of the Guerrillas of Destiny as far as them being members of Bullet Club. The whole Bullet Club squad took out the Guerrillas of Destiny, and the funny part is they show when G.O.D had told the group, they're going to be part of the new Bullet Club, And he said, I hope you guys do the right decision. In the middle of a tag team match, uh, you saw that, the Gorillas of Destiny got jumped, including Bad Luck Fale jumped the Gorillas of Destiny, which was kind of crazy being that they are relatives. Tama Tonga afterwards said he couldn't believe it, but he put his wrestling career for the Bullet Club for all these years. So we don't know where this is going to go, but officially they are no longer Bullet Club, which really much is going to be mind-boggling because when you mention Tama Tonga, you think of Bullet Club. So now they're no longer Bullet Club, and Chase Owens was on Twitter talking about revenge is best served cold, meaning what happened back at the Cow Palace in San Francisco in 2018 when the firing squad that was Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and Haku took out the Elite and wiped them out, and Chase Owens and the Tokyo Pimp tried to help the Elite, and they got taken out. And within 2 or 3 months, they were back at Bullet Club, and Chase Owens probably was planning and plotting all this time to get even with the Tama Tonga and Tangaloa. So I don't know where it's going to happen, but I know that G.O.D was taken out also by Goto, hit with a brass knuck. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like right now after the New Japan Cup, things are going to get very, very interesting coming up for the next couple of months. So that was one part. That was New Japan Pro Wrestling news. WWE news. WWE pretty much played the fans this week when on the same night that Scott Hall died, they had a plan. It looked like they were going to bring in Cody Rhodes into Jacksonville because Jacksonville is the home of the All Elite Wrestling. But apparently he did a no-show. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, while Raw is going on, Cody Rhodes put all eyes on tonight. And a lot of these wrestling fans said that he was trolling them, and they caught up to it. And Brandy put up another tweet that same day. It says, Mondays are fun days. And I said to myself, well, is she trolling also? But then again, it looks like Cody Rhodes is trolling the fans, being an asshole. And pretty much this is what it looks like. It looks like he's being an a-hole about it. He probably knows that the fans don't care where he goes now because it's like you left the company that you built and you was trying to go against the company that treated you like garbage, treated your father like garbage, treated your brother like garbage. And here you go, you leave because you won Danielson, Cole, CM Punk money, and you haven't done nothing. You haven't done nothing in the middle of 2021. And you're trying to get more money for what? If you're too involved with the Go Ahead Big Show into your reality TV, you did not care about AEW. You care about you. So if you show up at WWE, I don't care anymore. I lost interest. I don't care if it comes or not because, just the fact that you left AEW to go back to the company that you was trashing for almost 2-3 years, and here you go. You had a hard time getting your last name back, and here you go, going back to them. And Jay Santy made it clear that it's not about winning the world title. It's just telling a story. But I still say, that move you made, you left AEW. That was an a-hole move. Honestly, you want to be the man, and you're not the man. There's other wrestling stars there that could wrestle better than you and could do a better storyline than you. I don't understand that one, but yeah. So Raw was, I'm sure probably Raw had a good number. I haven't checked at all. What was the number this week? It probably was more than at least over 1.5. But we could check right now. But yeah, so they announced it as they made it look like he was coming. And I'm sure everybody was waiting for Cody Rhodes to show up at a WWE TV show, The Raw. And, he didn't show up. He didn't show up at all. Let's see. Let's go for the ratings. Raw ratings for, what was this week? 315? I think it was 314. I don't remember. 314. Let's go. Right here, we're going to go 3/14/2022. They got, their viewership was down. Wow. So, all this for them to have the viewership down. So, part of people don't care anymore. They don't care about what's going on. And this WrestleMania, they're trying to put everything together, whatever. It's not as great. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's going to watch this. I don't know who other people going to waste their hard-earned money on this garbage. I can't. I can't. I mean, you saw what was the main event. Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Whoever wins gets to interview Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stupid. This is what it's come down to. I can't. Anyway, that's it for me today, guys. Again, this video was more dedicated to the man, the bad guy, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. His passing will be missed. It will be missed greatly. I'm just lost for words. I'm like, how, guy's 63 years old, and mind you that he faced a lot of demons, and you can't judge him for that. He was a great performer, and now he's resting in peace. Again, rest in peace, Scott Hall. And again, this video is dedicated to him, the life, celebrating his life and what he did for the sport. That is it for me, guys. If you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also check out my store, tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. You get to see shirts that have this logo up here. You see it up there? You got a logo, and you on the shirts. I got logos on the hats. I got logos on hoodies. So check that out. Support the podcast. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit that notification bell. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. So for greatly to help me get found in the search engine faster. Again, I'm just like, I'm bugging out. Let me tell you that, because it's like I've never done a podcast where someone died that I have start my show about them. But Scott Hall will be greatly missed. And again, no Scott Hall, no AEW, no AEW, no WCW. WCW is gone. But if he wasn't in WCW, WCW would have gone under. No NWO. It would have been under way before McMahon bought it. So, but yeah, so he will be greatly missed. And that is it for me today, guys. And I'll definitely see you next week. Again, let me know what you think about this video. Leave me your comments and your feedback on this. Until then, I'll see you guys next week.